First of all carbohydrates cause the insulin-glucose roller coaster. And we talked about this, or I showed it to you before in that slide. And what happens is, this is your blood sugar over time. Your blood sugar starts out somewhere around normal. You eat a high-carb meal, it doubles, it goes up to 180. What happens is, somewhere around 2 to 3 hours later, you crash. And when you crash, you're hungry. What causes your blood sugar to be low and for you to be hungry 2 hours after you eat? The meal before. It's just like a smoker. Smokers say that they smoke because it relaxes them. And a smoker has to smoke every single hour on the hour to feel relaxed. But what caused them to feel tense was the cigarette before. A smoker has a smoke, he feels relaxed, he feels good. And then over the course of an hour, the nicotine wears off, he starts feeling stressed, and as he starts feeling stressed out, he needs another cigarette. And another cigarette relaxes him again. So he's actually going through a withdrawal. And that's what this is. This is like blood sugar withdrawal. If you want to not feel this way and you want to not feel hungry every 2 hours, you stop eating these things. And that was one of my biggest realizations, was when I started losing weight. I would have some days where during the middle of the morning, 2 hours after breakfast, I was excruciatingly hungry. And I would think, man, why am I so hungry? It's because I had oatmeal. You know, it's because if I ate some sort of carbohydrate meal in the morning, 2 hours later, I would be terribly hungry because I went here. Now, that's all carbohydrates. All carbohydrates cause that to happen. The second thing is sugar. Sugar specifically, including sugars like high fructose corn syrup and table sugar. They stimulate your brain. They stimulate what's called the reward center in your brain, and it gives you just a little bit of a high. And it's not a feeling of like being high. It's just like a pleasurable feeling. And you sort of get that pleasurable feeling, and so when you eat sugar, you want to eat more sugar because it kind of makes you feel good. And wheat does both of those things. Wheat causes the blood sugar crash. Wheat stimulates the reward center in your brain, and wheat specifically has substances in it called exorphins. What the exorphins do is they stimulate your brain and give you a little high. And what happens is, 2 hours later, when you eat wheat, we'll go back over to the board. When you eat wheat, this blood sugar roller coaster happens. And not only does the blood sugar roller coaster happen, but just like a smoker, 2 or 3 hours, you start going through wheat withdrawal. Sorry, it's not showing up. Drawal. You start going through wheat withdrawal. So these exorphins that are stimulating your brain, they give you a little bit of a high. 2 to 3 hours later, the blood sugar crashes. Not only are you hungry, but you're going through withdrawal, just like a smoker. Just like a smoker who smoked, and now it's an hour later, and he needs to feel relaxed again because he's starting to feel tense. So even if you don't consume heroin and you don't consume cocaine, if you're consuming wheat, you are consuming addictive exorphins. You're consuming a drug. That's why if the only thing that you did was cut wheat out of your diet completely, anything made out of flour, anything made out of that's a type of bread, people who cut the wheat out of their diet, they consume 350 to 400 calories less per day just by cutting out the bread. And that's because people who eat wheat, you don't realize it consciously, you don't do it consciously, but when you eat wheat, you do it because you get a little high. And when you're not eating wheat, you eat less because you're not eating for the drug-like effect of the exorphins. So wheat is a uniquely fattening food. So just say no to drugs.